Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Hello, hello. Happy Thursday.
How you doing?
Good. Feels like we've been on air every day this week.
It doesn't to me. I got my pool back. I spend more time in the pool now. I've got pool hair and I don't care.
Good. That's the way to do it. The dog days of summer, everyone belongs in the pool.
That's right. So it's been it's actually been fun this week because the weather's been great, but it's starting to turn. You can tell that the storms are starting to come in even here.
When is that predicted to hit North Carolina?
I think it's later on, like Sunday, Monday.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully we'll be safe. I think it's called Hurricane Erin. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Hurricane Erin. That's right. I did see something interesting about that. I didn't realize that some of the images that we were seeing were AI generated. And even Josh Stein said, be careful because what you're watching may not be really what's going on.
Yeah, they did that a long time ago with that big hurricane of the century in New York City. And I mean, it looked really, really ominous. It was all AI. So well, the big news, the very top news is what is going on with this?
With Crack Bar? That's what somebody did. They took off the rest of it and left
what
Crack
the
Bar.
Hell? So everyone is in a kerfuffle over a change of a logo. What's up?
Well, I think it's not really the change of the logo. It's what it represents. It's taking away people's feeling of, that Cracker Barrel kind of reminds you of grandma. You walk in there, you're going to eat home cooking. It's got a nostalgic feel. You see old timey things that you tell your kids about that they don't even know what they are. And I think when you try to change the trajectory of a company that's built their reputation on being homey and welcoming and inviting and also very down to earth, you're going to lose a big audience.
I mean, all they did was take the little dude off.
But that's not all they did. They have enforced a dress code that is different in the past. So you can wear whatever you want. They're not, looking at people the way they used to and saying, we want you to be friendly and expel the virtues of being, country and all that. They want it to be woke and let's have some purple haired dykes in here. And I mean, okay, fine. You want to be lesbian? That's fine. But to say like, that's the culture we're going for, when that's not what people want when they go there to eat, those things don't always work out well.
So yeah, the guy on the left would be rolling in his grave right now to know that purple haired dykes are the thing at Cracker Barrel, I would imagine.
I didn't say that in a derogatory sense. I just
look,
lesbians, but the point is their target customer isn't that. Their target customer are truck drivers, families, old people.
I think of it every time that we would go on a road trip as a family, we'd hit up the Cracker Barrel, the candy, the whole, whole experience. And you're right. A purple-haired, tattooed butch, right? Someone that's out in the open with things. They don't fit even in the scenery, right? It's just a mismatch.
What's funny about that is I always think about Cracker Barrel always has that little game you play where you put the pegs in the holes and you try to get them. And like the game represents exactly what they're doing wrong. You can't get there because it doesn't work.
Putting a peg in the wrong hole. That's right. I totally get it. Next up.
Well, wait though. One more thing about them. Their stock has plummeted. Like it's not just a logo.
Okay.
Their stock took a tank. So it's not just that they've done it. The consumers have reacted by saying, we don't want your stock.
And that always happens. It's so predictable. Why do we keep getting into these Bud Light situations? Why?
Truthfully, I think, well, and I don't know if you saw the CEO, she spoke about this. She's like, we had our big conference in Orlando and everybody was like, when are we getting a new store? And I kept thinking, the people that are saying that are from Minneapolis or from, Seattle. They're not the people in Savannah, Georgia, or, Alabama. That's just not the kind of people that you're going to get that kind of response from.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, read the room. We've been talking about that all week. Read the room.
That's true.
And the room says all this immigration has to be reined in. My jaw nearly hit the floor today to learn that we have 55 million foreigners with U.S. visas. I'm shocked. Okay, so we have housing shortage, healthcare shortage, school shortage, and no one's linking the two.
Yeah, well, it's not hard to see. And they're not, what they want you to believe is those are all like menial workers. That's not true. A lot of them are in the accounting field. They're in the tech field. They're in AI fields. They're in science. It's not true that they're all manual laborers. And that's the challenge that people don't want to look at.
They're taking high salary jobs. As we
Correct.
start to move to AI, when you've got North Carolina law that says we're going to have high skilled workers, doctors come in. So we're already switching to AI so that, somebody 16 or 17, they're thinking about a career. They're thinking about, okay, I'll be a doctor. That's such an honorable career, right? Because it's AI proof. And then you go and you go, well, to an extent. I mean,
yeah, in a way it is.
Come on, I'm telling you, I've been in robotic assisted surgery. You still have to have an anesthesiologist there. You still have to have an orthopedic surgeon there, but with this law is so bad. Well, we're going to follow up with that. You know why? Because nobody else will.
Well, and I want to reiterate one thing. I don't mind criticizing a bill. I'm not going to criticize people. It does make you go and research a lot of things. I think you and I found a couple of things we'll talk about later, but it's not about the people. I don't think any of the people.
Which people?
I don't think any of these representatives went into this maliciously. I don't think any of the
doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. And here's why. We have been on this. They have known about this for 5 days. They have said nothing. There's only 3 or 4 of them that have publicly said something. We have Kelly Hastings, which came out and made a joke. Mike Sheetzel, which came out and attacked people and made a joke.
You and I.
We had the most honest broker is Dr. Grant Campbell, who his name is on the bill. The most honest broker, okay? And the fourth, we'll show you, is lawyer Benton Sowery, who came out and unsuccessfully tried to convince the public that doctors do, in fact, have to take a test. So it doesn't matter if it's malicious or not. This is not about feelings or good guys or bad guys. If a mistake has been made and there's thousands of people that are aware and upset, I think instead of spending your time laughing about it and coming after people, Grant has not done that. You actually say, we realize this is wrong. And before this happens, we're going to come out. By the way, no one's come out publicly and said we're going to change the law. And until they do, I ain't stopping. I've said a million times, they were misled and lied to. We played the clip with Tim Reeder. I felt like their house was given a raw deal, Margot.
Well, and I think it's fair to say, someone said, I don't remember who it was, that they were behind the scenes talking about this. Let's be very honest. I mean, as honest as you possibly can be. If you're not a doctor, you're not paying attention to all the intricacies involved in certifying doctors and licensing for doctors. So if I were a house rep, unless I stopped and listened and really understood what was going on, I see where some have admitted I didn't even pay attention because they didn't.
I'm sorry. If we vote for a representative, we expect for, if they don't understand something, to ask and research, and they have researchers up there. So the problem is that, look, and I'll be honest, I've gotten a dozen phone calls like
So
you
have
have,
I.
right? That have said, Sloan, you're going to have to give them a break, and you cannot go so hard on them, etc. And here's what I've said. I have not heard anyone stand up and say, we're going to do something about this, number one. And number two, they can be mad at me all they want. They'll get over it, because what I'm doing is saving their lives, their families' lives, and the lives of their relatives. We're about to turn this bitch into the UK right now. Do you realize?
I do. I had a long conversation.
I'm getting phone call. I said 1,000, probably 100 phone calls from doctors all over the country that I don't know. You know what they're telling me? That North Carolina, as of right now, is the cannula by which doctors are going to flood America. They're going to come into North Carolina, work there 4 years, and by a decade, go in. And in between this time, North Carolina is going to be a godforsaken shithole. It's going to be bad.
So I had a very candid conversation with a Harvard doctor who is really, taught at a major institution, was the dean of that institution in medicine.
Harvard.
No. They weren't at Harvard. They went to school there. But one of the things that they said to me that I thought was brilliant is, listen, there are a lot of people who don't make it into the matching part, who we should make accommodations to give them that year and give them credit, because the next year they'll be better doctors and they'll have better patient, rapport.
In America, experience.
Correct. American doctors, they'll have better understandings about why you do certain things with calculations on drugs. They'll have better understandings about patient rapport. They'll even understand paperwork better than other doctors.
And people.
And people. And I thought that was good sound, advice. And this is a doctor who literally retired because of the paperwork. They could easily go until they're 80 years old. They could easily do it.
Well, one thing you're right about is this has led to a lot of online conversation, right? With doctors, with patients, with a lot of doctors. And, the doctors are coming up with all these ways that could have done. I think the right time to have these conversations is a couple things. With the public, I think it is incumbent upon legislators to explain this to the public first. They didn't, and I blame the Senate, and I blame key people in the Senate. And I think a conversation in the House, I think Tim Reeder, we played this. He is a doctor, and I understand why the House members trusted him. I think a key time for conversation when Destin Hall looked at him and said, "Is there any rebuttal? Is there anything?" And he goes, "Yes, but briefly." He could have explained, but because they didn't, and I don't care what the intentions are, good or bad, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but because that didn't happen, people are mad.
And they have every right to be. I mean, listen, of all the people that, feels frustrated by this, I definitely am. I live in a rural community that has a lot of things going for it. But one thing it doesn't have is a lot of full-time doctors that are sticking around. A lot of what happens at the hospital locally is temporary doctors that come in, they're travel doctors. They do a rotation as a hospitalist for 2 or 3 years, or 2 or 3 weeks or a month. That's not what any community wants. They want somebody grounded who wants to be part of the community, who really takes a participative nature in someone's health.
We didn't get transparency on this. That's what we wanted. That's what we voted for. And to the people that are mad at me, what I will say, the lawmakers,
the first time or the last time,
the lawmakers and some county chairs. As an activist, as a journalist, I've been through this before. We will get through this, but it's only going to come after you publicly do the right thing, and then we can be friends again. And then I'm going to be head cheerleader on your team. But you have to stop this from being enacted in January.
I do want to say, because you mentioned January, one thing this doctor did say to me is they're already hiring now. Because the word is out.
Okay, so we're going to get to that because I want to prove what you just said. But again, what's happening here is Marco Rubio, he said, we're pausing the issuance, now listen to the wording, of work visas for commercial truck drivers. Because guess what? The same policy, Margot, was applied to truck drivers. And guess what is happening?
People are getting killed.
So I guess it was a policy, right? Because there's a shortage of truck drivers. So there is a policy to allow them to come in and people are being killed. But here's what Marco Rubio says, and you can take drivers and put doctors, right? The increasing number of foreign drivers operating large tractor trailer trucks on U.S. roads is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihood of American truckers. That's exactly what this bill is doing right here.
I agree with that statement. I think it's fair to say you could substitute that with teachers. You could, not for the endangerment of lives, but I mean, you could substitute that with a lot of different things in taking away the livelihood of Americans. You absolutely.
And I'll be truthful. If this was written for teachers, we would be on this story.
You're right.
We would. We've
been on it. We talked about Nash County and an H-1B visa.
I'm saying but if there were a law that said this, we would be on this story. But you would not see, and I can only speak for me personally, you would not see me lit up. I've worked 10 years in operating rooms from here all the way up to Canada, New York City. I spent 4 years in operating room. I've worked, and my purview, the most vulnerable time is under anesthesia. And those patients come in, they have no idea who's operating on them. I mean, if you want me off your ass, change the law and change it now.
And just know, I'm open to any conversations. I know Sloan is too. I just want to understand how we fix this.
I want it fixed. I mean, I'm the person that likes to see action before conversation. That's just me. So Benton, sorry. He is a lawyer and he is the attack dog for Phil Berger.
Oh,
absolutely. So he goes out and I asked him, I said, look, Dr. Grant Campbell made a video. And after that video, and by the way, he agreed with us. And after that video, I wrote an article that said the WHO is going to oversee the quality of medical education here. And Benton came on and he said, I said, are you disagreeing with Grant Campbell and all these other doctors? He says, I guess I am contradicting the doctor, clarifying and adding more detail to what Rep. Campbell said. So here we have the House, the author of the bill, and the Senate, the senator that rammed this shit in there. Both of them have different interpretations of the same law that passed both chambers.
That's scary.
This is embarrassing. 2 attack lawyers came out, Republicans, right? They're lawyers. They thought it would intimidate me. They thought it would intimidate doctors. They thought we would back off. We're not intimidated because they both know that at this point, the only way the law is going to be interpreted is in court years down the road after people have died. They both know it.
Well, and I just want to say publicly, Mike, I don't know you. And for you to use my real name without my consent, I didn't appreciate that. I felt like that was a dig, and I know exactly where it came from. But if you want to apologize to me for that, you're welcome to do that. That really bothered me because that was a point of condescension. He was trying to be, condescending to me, and I didn't. That was rude.
I don't think Benton was being, but this guy Mike, he's out of Wake County. I mean, as a result, I'm actively looking for candidates. I'm going to run their campaign for free. I'm going to get live donors already lined up. He made a mockery out of this. He continues.
And he made it personal. He made it personal.
He did. I don't think Benton did, but he did. And so I'm making it personal by wanting to get his ass out of office. He's a wealthy lawyer that's Duke trained. He thinks he's better than us. He didn't give a damn what happens to people.
Well, I'm just going to say this. You're from Burlington, North Carolina. I went to high school in Jamestown, North Carolina. You're no better than I am. You're no better than I am. But to be condescending to a constituent who was not condescending, that's just another whole thing. I'm not going to bash anything, but that personal attack really did bother me.
And it should, because if you haven't explained the bill and you're sitting there telling us there's something wrong with the bill, Mike, and you can't point to it, we have a problem. Okay, so here Benton at least said, look, Sloan, I disagree with your reading, and I asked our nonpartisan, I don't give a shit if they're partisan or not, just FYI, nonpartisan central staff, and they agree with my
You'll
construction.
get paid by you guys. Oh, that's great.
Right. And respectfully, I don't give a rat's ass what it is. I'm gonna explain briefly the statute and move on with it. And so he plainly states the bill requires you to be a candidate for credential by EFMG. Now I've explained this to him. I'm going to briefly explain it to you. When you construct a statute, right? If there's one part that cancels out the other part, okay? What happens is the law will interpret the intention of the bill. The intention of the bill is to provide what? More access, not for quality control. Whoops, can you see this? I guess you can't see this. Wait.
I see Blue Cross.
Oh, crap.
Education, postgraduate. I see that.
Okay.
But I don't see the middle part. The middle part's missing.
Right, the middle part's the most important damn part. I'm going to see if I can get that up in a second. But the way the statute is divided, there's a section 3, and it talks strictly about medical schools. The medical school must be accredited, okay, eligible for credential by this EFCMG. Then it goes and talks about, and so look, I don't want to be right. I don't want to be arguing with my own party.
Me either.
But I don't want people to die. So we're at loggerheads. What are we to do? Now, I started to investigate, right? Is there any special interest here that could be behind it? Actually, I don't think this is it. I started to investigate because health insurers make money on this because they're going to pay less fee for service. Dialysis clinic makes a lot. Nursing homes will save a lot. And then I found out that Blue Cross Blue Shield, last legislative session, got the Republicans to push through a bill. Dale Folwell did not support it, spoke out like crazy. Mike Causey spoke out. But they were able to restructure their company. And then right after that, news came out that they had bought 55 primary health care clinics in rural North Carolina.
Are they mostly on the eastern side of North Carolina? Because we don't have a lot of Blue Cross Blue Shield up here.
You won't have any, they won't say that. They will say Fast Med. Anyone ever heard of Fast Med?
I haven't.
Okay. So Fast Med is what they're called. And so now you have North Carolina's large insurance plan, largest, benefiting from this bill. And lo and behold, they just bought these clinics. And lo and behold, a bill was just passed to staff those clinics up immediately.
With cheap labor.
However, they, in so doing, screwed every doctor and patient in the state of North Carolina. Screw you. This is their new thing. And by the way, it's meant to expand access and to it's access, right? And this is their new organization. This sounds like a conflict of interest. And when you find out the politicians who are being paid by Blue Cross Blue Shield, I think you might agree and start asking questions.
Well, I already have.
I want to know.
My big question about this is can you put that slide back up for a second? Because it really triggered me for a question.
Yeah, hang on one second. Okay.
So are these also going to take Medicaid and Medicare?
I really don't know, but I will say that Medicaid patients are, very, very prevalent in the low income counties.
Right. So I don't know, in different states, different insurance companies are the backer of the Medicaid programs or the Medicare programs, right? You can buy from on the brokerage, on the market. So that's why I asked the question, because that's, just triggered me right away. Rural areas prone to have more Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So, then I go and I find out the biggest legislator or the biggest lobbyist is this guy who was a former senator, good friends with Phil Berger. And then
I don't know what happened, Sloan. You froze. I don't see you.
am I back?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. You're frozen. Oh, there you are.
Okay. So he is acting as a lobbyist that is unregistered, perhaps, for Blue Cross Blue Shield. So Phil Berger is in this up to his eyeballs. Here's something else that I read. Here's another lobbyist for Blue Cross Blue Shield. And they are donating copious amounts of money to Republicans through the wife, right? Now, this is Blue Cross Blue Shield Federal. So they do give to our congressman, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I'm pointing it out. Right. Addison McDowell gets twice as much as anyone else.
Well, you know why? Because he was a lobbyist for Blue Cross Blue Shield before he became a congressman.
Well, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, well, that's
and that's problematic. That's a problem for me. Here's how much Phil Berger has received since 2017. These are three key beneficiaries. So the North Carolina Chamber, by the way, they would love nothing more than to tell people that, oh my God, we have tons of healthcare providers, right? Blue Cross Blue Shield
North Carolina, we have healthcare providers for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eli Lilly and other pharma, right? And so when we let's look at the North Carolina Hospital Association. One of their stated legislative mandates is to increase providers. Okay. They are corrupt as shit. So let's see this election cycle. Who's on the top of their list? Benton, sorry.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I want to know, Benton, every damn person you met with, lobbyist, every person, every meeting, what you talked about. Why is he attacking me and promoting this bill? He's going to promote this bill to the death because he's paid to do it. Donnie Lambeth, he was on this bill. Larry Potts was on this bill. Phil Berger is corrupt and pushed this bill. Tim Reeder, Bradley Overcash. Those are the authors. And you know who isn't in here? And I am feeling very regretful over this. Dr. Grant Campbell, who apparently was used.
Well,
you see how that lines up?
Yeah.
All the sponsors were paid. But Grant Campbell was not paid and very likely used. And he should be mad as hell. Not at me. At others. Here's the members of this.
You'll make me put my glasses on.
Well, let me read the members of the Hospital Association. These are the people at Wells Fargo, Wilkes Medical Center, North Carolina Healthcare Association. Okay. Let's see. High Point Regional. Let's see. Blue Cross Blue Shield North Carolina is sitting on this board. So they're sitting on the board and donating through this. Very shady shit.
What's really interesting is, because I have to look at it close up, is where do you see a lot of, like, Onslow? Do you consider that rural? Maybe it is. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the Western North Carolina contingent in that?
Well, Mission Health is. So
the chairman, that is Western North Carolina.
Yeah, and Novant, et cetera. And you've got Wayne County. So you've got the secretary is Wayne County. That's rural. But, these hospitals, the hospital system is probably one of the biggest beneficiaries. In other words, what I'm telling you, special interests, I'm going to say it, special interests pushed this. And now they're trying to argue and bullshit us about what's in it and lives are at stake. This is horrible. It cannot stand.
Well,
it just can't.
Hopefully there's room in the budget to make some changes. If not, I think we have to wait till March to be able to make any changes. And by then, as the doctor told me, As soon as, first of all, they're hiring now because the bill goes in effect into January. So they're already in the middle of hiring. And there'll be a go by January 1. And it'll be too late.
We're going to show you. And so this is another thing. Now, I can't be sure, but I wonder, they get a shit ton of money from anesthesiologists. I'm wondering, and I'm only wondering because job postings, right? These people are getting paid. Mike Sheasel, whatever. Okay, Benton Sari, Aaron Paré, Larry Potts. These are co-sponsors of the bill. So what I'm wondering, I mean, I'm just, I'm wondering if some of these rural areas, if maybe they put some of the nighttime staff on that doesn't have the right training. I don't know. I hope not.
Wow. Look at all that money.
This is National Health. This is Healthcare Association, right? And, they're Larry Potts, Phil Berger, North Carolina Republican House. Get this, the North Carolina Hospital Association PAC. So you see one PAC pays another and they donate and they get more donations. Timothy Reeder, Benton Sari, Donnie Lambeth, and Jason Sane, who is a lobbyist now.
Yeah.
So
he actually resigned from the House to become a lobbyist, which is very unusual, but also probably more lucrative.
Okay, so these are emergency medical associates, and they staff emergency rooms. Okay, once again, they also donate to the North Carolina Hospital Association PAC, which donates back into Republicans. Timothy Reeder is on here twice. The only time I see Grant Campbell on any of this is through this. That's the only time, I will say. But here's the sponsors of the bill, folks. Look at how many entries Timothy Reeder has. 4.
Now, I can't read at the very bottom of that because the print is so fine. The very last 3.
The very last 3, let me read it to you. The North Carolina Hospital Association.
Got it.
So, folks, that means that they're paying this big PAC. The big PAC is donating to the bill sponsors and to the corrupt people in the Senate who put this in there and are defending it. But they also donate. Timothy Reeder and Benton Sari are the 2 names I see the most.
Sounds like Mr. Potter's on there a lot too, or Potts, or whatever his name is. That's very interesting information. And listen, it doesn't mean that it's happening because of, but it's certainly questionable.
Well, I think the fact pattern is pretty clear. And I will tell you this, when you're not transparent and when you come out like Benton Sari, it tends to reinforce the thought that this is some shady shit. I mean, look, if you can staff rural hospitals for a fraction of the cost
and get some donations while you do it.
Correct. And Mike Sheasel's on record saying he understands the bill fully and it is the best for North Carolina. He has said that.
Wow.
Well, I don't see how turning us into the UK is what's best for North Carolina. And by the way, I made this point too. If this is such a great bill, why haven't I seen patient advocacy groups come out? Why haven't I seen doctors groups come out? Why am I seeing the sponsors of this bill getting dragged by thousands of people? No one likes it. So how can this be so needed for North Carolina?
I wondered that too. And what was interesting is after it came out, doctors started criticizing it. And did you notice that? But what is interesting is none of them got pushed back because they're not North Carolina constituents with a podcast in North Carolina, but we did. And they're doctors. And I felt that.
Yeah, I mean, we're expected to support our home team.
Yeah. Listen, I support our home team. I don't think, listen, 80%, 90% good doesn't mean everything's good. I didn't want Medicaid expansion. I supported this specific bill.
Well, this is why they're doing it too.
Right.
They expanded Medicaid. Okay. Blue Cross Blue Shield said, we're going to have these clinics. And now they're going to staff them for dirt cheap to accommodate the extra patients that they're going to get. The fact pattern is clear. The timeline is clear. The donations are clear.
Just fix it. Y'all just fix it.
Well, anything less is not going to work. These are, okay, so these are other things that this emergency room. So they're donating to a lot to Hospital Association. Tim Reeder, look.
I can't see how much that is. It's so small.
24,000.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
he is an emergency room doctor. He should be ashamed of himself. Now, let's get to former state Senator Jim Perry. This is a chain of dialysis clinics that I'll bet you there's a lot in rural North Carolina. Now, while he was a legislator, he got $28,400 from the North Carolina Hospital Association.
And now he's a lobbyist. I bet he gets a lot more.
I bet he gets a lot more. But he is lobbying for dialysis clinics. Dialysis clinics nationally employ 25% of IMGs, foreign doctors.
That's true. And even here. And they're in every small town. Davita, I think the name of it is. They're all over.
So I'll bet you this guy also pushed. And I bet you, I know people are reading my Twitter feed blow by blow, hoping and praying to God somebody will be able to take me out and take me down in my arguments. Not going to happen. Fix the bill. Because I'm not going to stop. So now, North Carolina Medical Board. This guy was a lobbyist, might still be, for UNC Healthcare, appointed by a Republican. While he was a representative, he himself got $10,400 from the Healthcare Facility Association PAC and $8,700 while he was from the hospital PAC. That's why he was while he was a legislator, and again, he was a lobbyist.
And that's not against the rules, or that's not against the law or the rules to do both?
I don't actually know, but this is one of two Republicans that are appointed to sit on the medical board. Do you think he's going to say jack shit about these doctors coming in from God knows where for cheap labor for rural health?
Probably not.
I'm just showing you what we're up against. The North Carolina Chamber, they would love to have, fully staffed medical clinics on every street corner to attract more business. They're horrible. They've given a lot to Phil Berger, a lot to Jason Sane, a lot to Bradley Overcash. She's on, a little to Bradley Overcash. Okay, so let's look at some of the job postings, because I know what you guys are thinking. You're like,
really?
You're like, look, there's not a lot of Visa sponsored jobs out there they're advertising for.
Oh, really? You think? Because I don't believe that. Show us, because I know we've got them.
Well, I just had my cup of coffee this morning, and I just looked and I said, well, son of a bitch. They're already advertising, right? This is with Sound Physicians. So it looks like a physician placement for Rocky Mount, which is absolutely rural. And it says H-1B and J-1 candidates are invited to apply. Access to Sound's in-house visa specialists, as well as licensing and credentialing experts. All expenses paid when you apply.
Wow. That's very enticing.
Well, they're going to start hiring. They're the first ones. Here, this ought to scare the shit out of you. UNC Health in Nash County, this is rural as hell. Anesthesiology physician, visa sponsorship, and relocation. Now, I ask you this, folks. Are they going to say, oh, I don't give a shit about the new law. I'm going to make sure my physicians have the U.S. residency and U.S. requirements. I'm going to do that even though they're $200,000 extra a year. We're going to do it. Do you think they're going to do that, or do you think they're going to follow the law?
You know, the proof is in the pudding. I noticed that they didn't ask for an anesthesiologist PA because there are such a thing. The only school that does is Emory.
Well, I might have missed something too. I looked in the requirements. It didn't say board certified either.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
And here you go. Gastroenterology physician. Relocation, visa sponsored, again in Rocky Mount.
UNC Health.
The other one was UNC Health also. This was UNC Health. This one. And oh my heavens, an OBGYN. They're looking for an OBGYN once again in Rocky Mount. And according to this law, as long as you've had 10 years of experience in your home country of delivering babies, even if you haven't been practicing in 4 years, you don't have to be practicing. You just have to have a current license. Then, now, are they going to hire them?
You know what's interesting, especially when you bring up the OBGYN thing, that's, of course, one of the highest insured physician placements there is.
And anesthesiology. Both.
Right. So the question begs, can they get insurance, or is UNC Health going to have to cover that? Or both?
I don't know, but I think if we're relying upon UNC Health that is woke as hell, and as I exposed, operated a child sex change clinic for 3 and 4 year olds. When I exposed them, here's what they did. They took the entire website down, and they had the general counsel write a fatwa against me that I was lying. We're relying on them to hire a quality OBGYN for rural North Carolina with a law like this. I don't know.
I've that's been my biggest concern, is that it's not just, the medical board. It's the people that are hiring, because they love this. They love this diversity thing. They think it's awesome.
They love Gaza too. These leftists love Gaza. So they'll hire a Gazan that, and I'm sure their credentials are legitimate, that will come in here and bring 45 of their
relatives,
members, right? Okay. You know what? That's true, PJ. And I'll be honest with you, there's a race component to this. Okay. Because if there's a complaint, you make it against a doctor. And in some areas, if you're a poor Black person, who are they going to believe? You?
That's true.
Or the doctor?
That's very true.
And I don't like this at all. So-called healthcare we have. I am too. And I think people were, Cajun Lady, during COVID. And this is the point that Anesh made, Dr. Coca, the other day. I think people are just now starting maybe to trust. And now this.
I think they also don't understand. I'm just going to speak for where I live. The acclimating to a very tight-knit community that is Irish, Scottish, don't even like Floridians much, is not going to be easy.
I mean, you know what? When DEI was training doctors in the medical field, they kept saying, people want people that look like them as doctors. Well, that's out the door now, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. And I'm not trying to be racist or anything. I'm just giving you an observation of what I see locally.
There's no racist about it. Someone from Karachi, Pakistan is not going to fit in Nash County. I'm going to tell you that. But guess what? The ones from Karachi that do a 3-year residency and take a U.S. test show that they want to earn the right to practice medicine in the greatest country on earth. And I respect the hell out of that. We don't even know if they want to be here.
They do, or they wouldn't apply.
No, we don't even know. No, we do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know if these new doctors coming in want to be here. If you don't have to quit, if you don't have to do anything and they're recruiting you, you may hate America and hate Americans, but they're going to pay you $50,000 more than you're making in your home country.
See you, bye.
We don't want doctors that are motivated by money to leave their country to come here. It's like, no, I know you understand better than anyone. I'm talking to the legislators. I want everyone to know, you legislators, we don't want doctors that are in it for the right reasons. Look, we may not agree politically with our doctors or come from different cultures or whatever, but at the end of the day, I never question if a doctor's calling is helping people. I think this will call that into question. I think it's bad. This is for an non-invasive cardiologist at Albemarle Medical Center in Elizabeth City, visa sponsorship. Okay. Physician interventional radiology, J1 and H1B support.
Does that one have relocation too?
Well, it says it's an hour outside of Raleigh, so that could be.
No, relocation. To have a relocation on it?
Yes. Sign-on residence and relocation. Here's another one. H1B visas, welcome to apply. Pediatrics. Now, what we're saying is that right now today, I mean, there's a shitload of them. So I don't know if it's advertising, to your point, ahead of the law passing, because I don't have a baseline to compare it to.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that the dean of a former university said it is. She already knew.
I don't know if these employers are going to say, well, I know what the law is, but we are willing to pay probably $200,000 more a year for physicians. I don't know if they're going to do that. Wow. I mean, if it's all about the bottom line with some of these hospitals, then you guys are cooked out there. Okay. Now, let me tell you, I made a comment, and this upset Benton Sari to no end. I said, with a stroke of a pen, these legislators have turned turned North Carolina specifically into the UK and the NHS. That's true. Because the NHS did the same thing, followed the same path, and they're learning a very painful lesson. So let me share with you. They've got doctors that are coming out and saying, we came here from another country, from the very poorest corner of the world, and we are being worked to death. And wow. This is dangerous for patients. So there's an exploitation angle. Also, many overseas doctors, the ones that they get, are just thrown into the field like it appears they are here. And they were scared shitless because they said, we're not ready to do this job here. I mean, if you don't understand an EMR, right? If your country doesn't have an EMR medical record, you're thrown in to see patients and do that.
Once again, I go back to what the doctor said. The paperwork is the killer.
Well, I mean, there's so many problems here.
I agree.
Foreign doctor. Okay. This is one case. I'm sure there are many more. He fled his country after he killed a patient because guess what? It took like 6 months to get on his record, Margot. So how are people to know if they leave the country right away and it hasn't hit their record yet?
Yeah.
I mean, if you did a residency, you would know. Another thing,
but I started thinking about when you used to look at criminals in the education field and how long it took to get that on their record, and it made me laugh because that's exactly what's going to happen.
We already have exposed the medical board, the Democrat auditor exposed. The medical board is not transparent. I believe they are corrupt. They're inept, and they've been given way too much power with this bill. Exploited doctors feel they're putting UK patients at risk. So the UK is where we are. They've already learned their lesson. This is in WRAL a few years ago. UK investigates 3,000 foreign medics after fake doctor is exposed. This is what Dr. Coco was talking about.
He brought that up. He absolutely did.
Now, this happened in Michigan. This guy here on a visa. Okay. I think he's up to 43 victims now that he sexually abused. So here on a visa. Whoops, didn't mean that one. And in his culture,
no big deal.
These things aren't crimes. So there's a lot of problems. I think in summary, I don't know what they need to do. But that's why they were elected.
Yeah, do what Phil Berger says he's always doing. Put America first.
Well, you know,
he says that on X all the time. I support President Trump.
That's really weird. But you know, while we're talking about this, I came out today and I officially backed Sam Page, who's his challenger, because I'm so upset with this, and I am going to lend my considerable talent and time to his campaign.
Well, good luck. And I can't endorse any candidates because I sit on an executive committee, but I do appreciate your want to make sure we have good candidates. I'm not saying anything bad or good about either one.
So not like you.
I can't right now. I mean, you know, we're in election season, so it's different when we're not.
Well, I'm free as a bird to endorse, and I don't do it too often. I really don't. But I do feel like the Senate screwed the House and gave him a raw deal. I don't think it will ever happen again. I think, yeah,
there are some silver linings in this, Sloan, and not that they're, you know, this is a hard lesson, but the silver lining is you're not just going to take somebody's word for it anymore. The other silver lining is hopefully they ask for a reading on the floor of the bill to make sure that they understand what they're reading. And another thing I would say is, at the very least, use AI and get the digest of what the bill is before you vote on it.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because what I do is I have 2 AI programs. And so what I am asking the right questions is important. So I'll run it through 2. And then I will say, you know, how would you argue for this, against this? And the most important thing, I think, is to say, how will this help patients? How will it hurt patients? And how do you interpret this from a conservative point of view? Because when I did that, both of my AI programs pointed out the word international in a bill should always get triple scrutiny from any conservative lawmaker.
That's very good information. It's free. If you join our podcast like you have today, you got some free advice.
Right. Ask for the conservative interpretation. And when you see international, that's global. And when you see international and health and doctors, in this case, it means what you think it means, the WHO.
Scary. Very scary. It's been a great one tonight. We went over a lot of things. We actually really deep dived into, you know, what the whole visa thing falls in line with what's going on here in North Carolina, which goes in line with what we're seeing in the UK. It's just, I think the country needs to be reflective, but the state of North Carolina needs to be reflective. It's not just America first. It's North Carolina first, and North Carolinians first of all.
And American doctors, because American doctors are really going to be screwed by what has happened in North Carolina, because there's going to be a ton of doctors. Remember, these doctors come in. If it were a temporary problem, Margot, they would have said, you can come in here for 2 years and work. You can't bring your family because we have an emergency. They didn't. And they said 4 years, you're free to practice anywhere with a license in good standing. And what they're saying, I'm just telling you, what the legislators are saying is that your credentials, wherever you came from, Iran, whatever, are equal to an American education. And I just don't believe it.
Well, I'm sure this isn't going to be the last program we do about this. But Tune in next week.
Tune in on Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend, guys, and try If you have to go to the doctor, whatever, try to get your ass in there now, do preventive care, and start looking up integrative medicine and start rucking, damn it. Take a backpack, load it up with some weight. I'm up to 35 pounds now. Go out there for an hour, get in nature, builds bone density, helps you stay healthy. But now's the time to reinvigorate yourself and stay healthy. Don't go to the doctor.
And all you Eastern North Carolinians, please know we're praying for you to stay safe and, get to high ground if you need to, but we're praying for you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, guys, have a wonderful evening.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.